Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself and all this like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my subscribers. You love celebrating and of course appreciated. So I want us to have this little deliberation about something just very recently. And it is because of the recent, happenings around the continent, especially the issue of Madagascar, how military took over. And Michael has been sworn in as the president officially. That's the military leader who orchestrated the coup. He has been sworn in as the Lego president of Madagascar, and he's going to be in power for 2 years. I'm going to leave some information there of the ceremony as the video progresses. So there is something that was brought to my notice, and I said, okay, it's good that we deliberate upon this, like analyze this together. Does it mean that there are some quiet noise within the army that there is agitation for overthrowing of the government? I'm talking about Nigeria. Yesterday we were talking about Nigeria. Now, according to the news circulating quietly, um, it was said that the former chief of army staff, General Tukur Buratai, that's of the Nigerian military, has urged Nigerian army to see themselves as defenders of democracy and custodians of national stability. Now, of course, it's just normal. I'll still continue anyway. It's just normal that with the recent agitation in Nigeria right now, there is a lot of tension amongst, the Gen Zs as well, the youth, because things are becoming a bit harder. Even though the government of the president Tinubu, aka Jagaban, his government had assured the citizens that everything would be fine, there is still a lot of tension. There is still, desire for, protest. There is still hardship going on around. Nigerians feel that the government have always been betraying them, and that the government of Tinubu is no less different. Now, according to the information going further, it said that according to him, the former chief of army staff, that you must remain loyal. That is not an option. Like being disloyal to the democracy of Nigeria is not an option. So he is reminding the army that they have to be loyal. Okay? Democracy must be sustained and maintained according to the former chief of army staff. And whatever the challenges, I believe democracy itself will solve them. So according to this former, chief of army staff, that whatever the issues might be, democracy is the solution. Democracy is the answer. So there is no option of struggling or agitating for a military takeover. And he went further to say that loyalty is the very key of a military official. Even in retirement, we still maintain that loyalty. Buratai said this on Tuesday in Abuja during the decoration of two senior officials of the Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police. Now, what do you think about the statements of the former Chief of Army Staff? It shows to me that there is fear of military takeover even in Nigeria. And so he is reminding the military not to think about military takeover. And I believe, of course, he's not going to do this for free. There should be a reason why he's doing this. Jagaban is truly struggling to protect his reign to the end, so he would not want anything like a military takeover. So the thought is that maybe out of fear, he is gradually trying to remind the army not to think about a military takeover that will not solve anything. Now, I'm bringing this information here because of the recent comments from majority of the Nigerian youth and also from audience around the world, especially those who are interested in happenings in Africa, because the thought of whenever there is a military takeover, the thought will be, okay, where would be the largest one of the largest economy in Africa do the same thing? Because when you look into the countries that are um taking over militarily, these are countries that you least expect. And that was why in the previous videos I said the stone which the builders reject is gradually becoming the cornerstone or has become the cornerstone. Because one would never expect that a country like Madagascar or countries in the Sahel would do what they did. But they proved to us that it's not by the size, it's not by population, it's not by, you know, what have you, it's just the willpower. When you want it, when you are ready, it's just going to happen. And again, it's also about if this army really have their people at heart. Yes, I'm using the issue of Madagascar as an example, a practical one, because it's very recent, right? Now, there was an uprising and the government had sent this military to go calm issues, right? Okay, just go scare these guys, scare these children, let them go back to their homes. And it happened that this military went to these youth. Instead of scaring them to go back, the military joined hands in protest. And this was how the president, you know, Rajolina ran to Macron. In short, Macron has sent a private, transportation for him to be carried. And after he landed France, he was given the citizenship immediately. So you see what we're saying? That is to say, Macron is aware of what is really going on in Madagascar, and we are also all aware that there's a lot of hardship in Madagascar. The same situation that the Sahel was going through, the same situation. Now, to the aspect of would there ever be a military takeover in Nigeria? I think this should be an answer to most of you who are thinking and hoping that Nigeria should be the next, and also to the youth who have been asking these questions. If Madagascar can do this, if Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger can do this, why can't we in Nigeria do this? It's also an answer to most of you out there who might have these questions at heart. That the army is being reminded that loyalty should be their number one priority. Loyalty to democracy. And according to this former chief of army staff, that democracy is the answer to all the problems that the country called Nigeria might be experiencing. So he believes fully that democracy is the answer. So if a former military general, chief of army staff, has a thought like this, you understand already what the stand of the Nigerian military is. So there is no military takeover today, and there's not going to be a military takeover tomorrow. So maybe we should just rule that out of our mind, especially for those who are having high hopes, believing that Nigeria will soon have a military takeover. And the truth is that it's like, a ticking bomb. A lot will happen. Things is going on already. The youth are getting so agitated. A lot is happening. They are getting so frustrated. If there is no military takeover, then something huge is going to happen in Nigeria. If nothing is done, especially to elevate poverty, especially to curb, this issue of unemployment for the youth who have studied to every length. Studied to every length. In Nigeria, Nigerians love title so much. After studying for all this time, wasting money, time, and effort, there is no job. So a lot is happening in the country that the youth are really not at home with right now. So, do you still believe that something like what happened in Madagascar or the Sahel can still happen in Nigeria? Still leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section. So I'm going to leave you with some of this information. Listen to it and you leave your thought there at the section.
Le jour d'aujourd'hui marque un tournant historique pour notre pays, avec un peuple en effervescence, mu par la volonté du changement et par l'amour profond de sa patrie. Nous ouvrons avec allégresse un nouveau chapitre de la vie nationale. Cette jeunesse, victime d'injustice, de pillage de ses ressources et du détournement des biens publics, composée majoritairement de la génération Z, soutenue par l'ensemble des citoyens malagasy, est descendue dans les rues pour réclamer la refondation nationale et la résolution des problèmes socio-économiques récurrents dans le pays, notamment la coupure incessante d'eau et d'électricité. Malheureusement, en réponse à ces revendications, le régime autoritaire qui a plongé notre peuple dans l'obscurité pendant des années a joué la carte de la violence, de la brutalité et de la violation flagrante des droits de l'homme, plus particulièrement du droit de manifester pacifiquement, un droit de manifester, un droit pourtant reconnu, protégé par la Constitution.
It's been a very chaotic week in Madagascar. The president, André Rajoelina, has been impeached, and the military quickly took over power. The question is how the international community will now receive this. It all started several weeks ago with protests over the lack of electricity and water, but it quickly escalated into broader grievances over corruption and over the failure to build a better life for the people in Madagascar. On Monday, President Rajoelina gave a speech, and everyone thought that this was the moment he was going to resign, but he was defiant, saying, no, I'm going to stay in power, I still control the country. The next day, members of parliament convened and said, if the president is not going to resign, we are going to hold an impeachment vote. I was actually in the chamber when this happened. Members of parliament are coming up one by one, and they're putting their paper ballots into a box. And as soon as they reached that impeachment threshold, it was just pure elation. Right after the votes, I went out to the middle of town and witnessed the sea of euphoria. The president was being ousted and was being impeached by his parliament, including by members of his own party. They coordinated with the military itself that after this impeachment vote, the military would then step in, forming this transitional government that will be mostly comprised of military officers, the security forces, but also some civilians. The thinking is that the military now had to step in to sort of restore unity, restore stability in the country. And they said that within at least 2 years, they would be able to create a new constitution, build whole new systems and whole new institutions that would really satisfy the will of the people. You had President Rajoelina coming out with a statement, completely blasting this. He said that these were renegade members of the military, that there was an attempted coup, and that this should not be recognized. The concern is that if a coup is declared in Madagascar, a lot of other countries that Madagascar relies heavily on will then withdraw their support and pull their aid from the country. International leaders, a lot of diplomats will have to decide how they view the legitimacy of this new government. The big thing to look at going forward is what sort of systems and governments this new transitional authority led by the military will implement, and whether it will be something that's actually going to be pleasing to the young activists of this country.
And I will see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive always, your majesties. Bye for now.